It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Canadian national softball player, Emma Entzminger. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to play professional softball?
Yeah. Growing up, I kind of really didn't know what sport I wanted to play at the time. I played multiple sports, and then leading into high school and then into college, going away and playing softball. I knew that I wanted to play with the national team and be a part of the national team. And the national team actually provided opportunities to play professionally in the national MPF, the Professional Softball League. And so that kind of opened up opportunities for me. And we played as the Canadian Wild. I knew that that was the highest I could go between playing professional and playing with the national team. That was kind of the top, and I wanted to hit the top. So it was definitely a good experience. That league doesn't exist anymore, but I'm still playing, technically, I guess, professionally with the national team and just representing Canada.
What was it like playing college ball with the San Jose State?
Yeah, that was a really cool experience. Coming from Canada, it's always a little bit harder to get a scholarship and go away. So I think for me, it was really awesome that I was able to go to San Jose State. It was in California. I went on a couple of visits to different schools, and they didn't really feel like home. But after going to San Jose and having that visit and meeting the coach and learning about the program, it was just definitely the best fit for me. Just everything the program stood for, what the coach believed in. Just it was a big time family environment, and that's kind of what I'm all about. And it was a great experience. We were a top 50 team at the time. We won the Mountain West Conference in 2017 and were able to go to postseason. And we actually had our first win in school history when we were at UCLA regional. So that was a pretty cool experience. I have no complaints about that. It was a great fit. Met longtime friends. It was competitive ball, and feels like forever ago now, but it was definitely a really cool experience.
What was it like putting on that jersey for San Jose?
Yeah, that was once again pretty special. I knew that growing up, I always wanted to kind of go away and get to the next level, and that was the next level at the time for me. Being able to just represent something a little bit bigger than maybe just my hometown. So being able to wear that jersey, represent San Jose State, and especially represent San Jose State softball and what they were about, was definitely an honor. I, once again, believe in everything that program stood for, and that made it really special. Just being able to compete and, like I said, go to the postseason was super special.
What was it like coming out of college playing for the national team of Canada?
Well, I started playing with the junior team in 2013, so I competed in the 2013 and 2015 World Championships. So in 2013, I was actually still in high school. So leading into 2015, that was kind of more into when I was in college. But that was special. It was a step up from college. I think college ball is one thing, but international ball is just a different level. I had the privilege to be a part of the women's national team in 2016 as an alternate, which was a really cool experience. I was one of the youngest on the team. I was kind of put there to just soak everything up, learn from the older girls, just take in that whole experience. And that was kind of my first taste of the senior team. Of course, the junior team was one thing, but I think it's just kind of a step up moving onto the national team, and just gave me that extra motivation to be like, okay, this is where I want to be moving forward. I knew that at that time, that's kind of where I was at. I wasn't at a place to be on that team consistently, but kind of got that opportunity to get my foot in the door, learn from all the older girls, and just soak up everything I could through that experience.
What was it like playing in the 2019 Pan American Games?
Yeah, fast forwarding a little bit. 2016 was an alternate. 2017 actually got cut from the national team. Then I tried out again 2018, and 2018 was the first year that I was on the team. If you look at 2018, I was probably maybe the 16th girl on the roster. So my role was definitely different. Didn't see a lot of playing time. I was there. I got some at-bats in a few innings in at the World Championships in 2018, but then kind of that bridge between 2018 and 2019 was big for me. Beginning the 2019 season, that's when we were playing in the Pro League, playing for the Canadian Wild, and just a lot of games. And my game kind of changed at that point. Got more innings, got more opportunities. I knew the opportunities would come. It was just a matter of waiting. And when they did come, I was able to capitalize on them. And that kind of was my transition into really a starting role with the national team. The 2019 Pan American Games in Peru was the first tournament that I was a starter at third base and kind of earned that position. So I think that was pretty special for me, and just my first taste of being consistently on the field and being a part of the lineup. And, we won silver there, so that was super special. It was for me, my first kind of multi-sport event representing Canada. And I think that experience in itself is pretty cool, just being able to represent Canada, and then have all those other different sports there as well. Being on a village, being a part of that, I think it's a pretty incredible experience. And I knew at that point it was the closest thing we had to the Olympics. So that was kind of the next step moving forward to the Olympics.
What was it like, obviously, preparing for it after you knew that you were cut and trying to get back to the stage that you were at?
Yeah, I had a pretty tough conversation in 2017. It was my summer of junior year of college. Kind of showed up for camp. One of the girls had retired the year before at third base. It kind of opened up some opportunities for me. Came to camp, didn't perform well, and had a conversation at the end with my head coach, and it was a really hard conversation. He kind of just told me, look, like, you took things for granted. You came to camp, you weren't prepared, you were out of shape, and you kind of missed this opportunity. And in the moment, I was big time like, no, that's wrong. I didn't believe what he said. I thought that I put in the work. I thought I did everything I needed to do, and really didn't believe what he was saying. It wasn't until I kind of stepped back from the sport. I took that summer off away from the sport and just had to do a lot of self-reflection. And after a lot of that, I realized he was right. I realized that I wasn't doing everything I absolutely needed to do. I was in college and it was during season, and that was the way it was. But I knew that past college, I wanted to represent Canada, and I wasn't doing those extra things, whether that was nutrition, strength and conditioning, just everything I needed to. So moving forward to senior year, I had to make a decision. Was this kind of like the end of my run with the national team, or did I want to make some changes? So I went back senior year, got with my strength and conditioning coach, nutritionist, made a plan, figured out what I needed to do, and ended up losing like 20 pounds. And I think was in the best shape I possibly could moving forward to that next tryout. And I think it was a super tough situation, a tough challenge I went through, but it was probably like a game-changing part of my career. And I'm forever grateful for that conversation. It was a really tough conversation, and at the time I didn't want to hear it, but looking back on it, it was probably the best thing that could have happened for me. So definitely a tough experience, but now it's definitely a positive in my career, and I will never let that happen again, and I will never take anything for granted. And I'm happy where I'm at now, and just knowing what's at stake, and what my priorities are and what my values are, just when representing and training for Canada.
What was it like winning the silver medal in 2019 in the Pan American Games?
Yeah, that was a cool experience. We had actually beat the U.S. in the round robin, which was awesome. I think that was really cool, but we knew we had to beat them again in the final. And we fell a little short with that one. But I think for me, like I said, that was my first multi-sport event. So being able to win silver the year before, we won bronze at the World Championships in Japan. So then fast forward to 2019, winning silver in Peru was pretty special. Just with that group of girls, really great group of girls. And that was just kind of another stepping stone of our journey towards Tokyo and in the Olympics. So I think it was a good step forward, but we knew we still had room to grow and things to change. And if we wanted to kind of finish this mission.
What was it like preparing for the Olympics in 2020, going to Tokyo?
Well, I mean, it was about 4 years of preparation. Once they announced in 2016 it was back. But I mean, it was tough for a bit in 2020 with COVID. The postponement was tough for a lot of us. I know a lot of people in the world struggled with just the uncertainty and everything that was going on. You know, we were together in Halifax in Canada, thinking we were going to get back together in a week. We go home, and we ended up being home for that next basically half a year. I think it was really good for our team. I think that having that extra year was a positive for us. I think it allowed for a lot of self-reflection, a lot of growth individually, but as a collective unit as well. I think it was really the best thing that could have happened for us in our preparation to Tokyo. Just extra time gave us that extra year to just fine tune our skills and have that preparation. So we ended up centralizing, fast forward to 2021, we centralized from about February really up until the Olympics. So that was pretty fun being able to live with my teammates for, half the year. But we went a lot of places. We're in Florida for a bit, went to Illinois, back to Florida. And then we went to Japan prior to the Olympics for a little training camp before getting on the village. But it was a lot of hard work, but I think I wouldn't have changed any of it. It was all worth it. It's crazy to see that time's done. It felt like forever that Olympics weren't going to happen. When it got postponed, we didn't know if it was going to be back in. Then it finally got back in. And yeah, I mean, that was probably the best experience for me. That's the highest competition I've ever played at. And just that, I mean, it's great to get there and compete in the games, but I think it's the journey that's really special and really important. Like I said, there were a lot of ups and downs throughout that. But there's tons of memories with that. And, we grew as a team, a collective unit. And I think those girls are my best friends. And I can genuinely say that. I've been on a lot of teams, but you're not always that close off the field. And I think that's what made us really strong. And that's what, when things got tough, we could lean on each other and be there for one another. So the training for that and the journey for that was a lot, but I wouldn't probably change any of it.
What was it like playing with the Canadian Wild and putting on the Canadian Wild jersey?
Yeah, that was my first experience at pro ball. It was a little different because we were the national team. We were just representing a different organization at the time. Like all of the girls on the team were all part of our national team pool at the time. And we were just playing for the Canadian Wild of Southern Illinois. That was pretty cool. The stadium we played on in Marion, Illinois was sweet. It was a big baseball stadium. The field was really nice. It was a turf field, but it was kind of a small town in Illinois, and being able to represent Canadian Wild and the people that hosted us were just amazing. And we had a great experience with that. I was part of our Olympic prep, and we were happy and fortunate that they took us in and allowed us to play out of their stadium and just be a part of that. And I think being able to play in the Pro League, we got to play against, the Pride. Team Mexico was kind of the Comets at the time, and there were a few teams we were able to play with. But once again, that was my first experience in the pro league and kind of the taste of, everybody's good. Like, I mean, it's the same with international ball. Everybody's good. You can't, pitchers are all good, hitters are all good. So you're really competing at the highest level and you're challenged every single day. But that's kind of what you want to do. You want to be challenged and getting outside of your comfort zone, because that's when you're growing and getting better. So
What was it like putting on the Team Canada jersey on the Olympic stage and having the Olympic rings on your chest?
well, we kind of had a special ceremony to get given our Olympic jerseys, which was really special. Just as a group, we were kind of, out in front of the water, and it was a special moment. We did a kind of team building exercise and were given that. So I think, I've been fortunate to wear a few Canada jerseys, but just having the rings on it was definitely just that extra touch that you wanted. You're just on a higher stage, and I know that's the highest stage we can go. You're representing Canada, but you're representing everything else that's come before you. Representing San Jose State, representing my club team growing up, the Devils, representing my hometown, my home province. So I think, one, receiving that jersey, but then fast forwarding and getting to Tokyo and stepping foot on the field the first time. Singing the national anthem with my teammates, super special. Just that jersey means so much, and just being able to have the honor of representing Canada across your chest is just incredible. And I knew that was the highest stage and that was kind of the peak. So getting to that spot, something that I've dreamt about forever. At the time, I didn't know what sport I wanted to kind of play, but being able to do that and get to that was super special. And being able to do it with that group of girls made it 10 times better for sure.
What is the feeling like of having, of course, Olympian behind your name and Olympian bronze medal behind your name?
Still sounds a little funny, honestly. The medal itself is special. I think having that is just that nice reminder. But I think for me, it's less about the medal and more about that whole experience in all. Like, yes, we went there and played for a week, 10 days. But it's more than that. It's all about that whole journey that we had to get there and that whole experience. The medal itself to me is more something that I get to share with girls growing up that are aspiring to play softball, or, to make their travel team, or to represent Canada, or whatever that looks like. So for me, just being able to show that medal off and see the impact it has on others, just being able to have, a little girl hold the medal and see the sparkle in her eye, and that kind of just gives her that spark to want to continue to play, whether it's softball, whether it's another sport, whether it's a dream of hers to do whatever that is. So I think that's special in itself, but then also just having the Olympian by your name, that's still, like I said, kind of weird, and doesn't really feel like real life, but I think it was a long time coming, and we deserve that. And that's part of who we are. But it's also just given me more of a platform to give back, more of a platform to be able to just share my experiences and share those ups and downs and challenges, and hopefully motivate and inspire somebody in whatever way that can be. And I think it's given me a bigger platform, and I have a lot of people to thank to where I am today. And that's just provided those opportunities to share this experience. And that's kind of the best part about it. Yes, we did it. We were the ones who got to step on the field. We were the 15 girls that got to win a bronze medal for Canada and make history for Canada. But being able to come back and share that with everyone around the world is what makes it all worth it.
Of course, what was a typical game day like in the Olympics, and what were some of your game day routines and rituals like?
Yeah, the village was probably about 40 minutes away from the field. So, depending on when the game was, we kind of just like woke up, walked to the dining hall, kind of have our meal, whatever that looks like. Definitely get some coffee. Coffee's a must in my game day and everyday routine. I head back to the kind of rooms in the dorms, and really just get ready, get changed, do all the things. For me, I don't have anything like super crazy that I do. Definitely like to listen to music. I mean, we had 40 minutes on the bus. So those 40 minutes on the bus was just kind of listening to my tunes, whatever gets me going. And then, yeah, getting to the field, we usually do, I mean, for softball, we're usually there pretty early before the game, but we go to a park that isn't necessarily the stadium, just a practice field, do our BP, get our batting practice, kind of do our dynamic warm up, hop back on the bus, drive to the field, the stadium. And then, yeah, that's when we get to kind of sit in the locker room, do whatever we need to do to get ready. And then we get to do our infield, outfield on the field, warm up, do those types of things. And then we're kind of jerseying up and getting on the field. I don't really have, like I said, anything that's I need to do necessarily. There's things I like to do. But yeah, I'm one that likes to have fun and enjoy it. I like to keep loose. When I'm tense, it's not good. So yeah, there's a time to be serious, but I like to joke around and kind of keep it light. And for everybody that looks different, and everyone has their things they need to do, but that's when I'm at my best.
Of course, what were some of your favorite memories and moments during the Olympics this year?
For sure winning bronze. I mean, just that moment, that last out was crazy. I mean, it's something that we've envisioned. Obviously we'd want to win gold, but it was, once that we knew that was kind of, lost our couple games that took us away from that, we kind of had to switch gears, and we still had a chance to win bronze. And it's something that we had planned for, trained for forever. 4 of the girls on the team were in the 2008 Olympics, and they lost in the bronze medal game against Australia. So part of that was for them. I mean, the revenge for them, like they were rewriting history. But being able to just kind of get that last out and be able to celebrate with my teammates was really special, because those girls have been through it this whole time, been through every moment. Yeah, there were only 15 of us that represented Canada at the Olympics, but there were so many others that came before us that kind of paved this path and had a part of our journey, and were a part of the journey. Big or small, they made an impact, and we wouldn't have been able to do without them. But that moment was probably my top moment at the Olympics. I think just being able to get to the stadium was also special. Like just stepping on foot on the stadium the first time, we kind of got our practice, or our pre-Olympic practice, and just looking around and seeing Tokyo 2020 everywhere, and it being like, okay, this is the real deal. Like we're actually here, just because we didn't know if we were ever going to get there. Definitely a little weird without fans. We had trained to have a stadium full of like 30,000 fans, and for that to not happen, that was a little different, but probably made things easier. But yeah, those are a couple things. I mean, the village itself was really cool. Just being able to walk around and see other athletes, and see other Canadian athletes, or just athletes from other sports and countries, and just enjoy that experience. You always hear about what people talk about, but until you're there, you never really know what it's going to be like. But I mean, I can list a million things that were great, but those were probably my couple that were my favorite.
Who were some players that obviously you saw in the village that you were like, oh my God, I'm here with you now, that I looked up to?
Honestly, just with COVID, like you couldn't, like there wasn't a whole lot of like interaction. I saw Jose Bautista, which like I don't necessarily like look up to him, but just with being baseball and all of that, that was cool. I personally didn't see a whole lot of like I saw a few like other Canadian athletes that I just know of, and like Andre DeGrasse, one of our Canadian runners. He's been to Olympics, won a lot of medals. Not necessarily someone I've looked up to, but just kind of cool seeing those people, because you're living the same life as them, and in the moment, like you don't think you are until you're there and you're like, okay, like they're just like me. They're just human. They're doing everything that I'm doing. But I know some teammates saw other athletes. We were week 1, so kind of transitioning out. A lot of the other athletes came in week 2, but it was pretty cool to just see like we were at the same level of these people that you may have looked up to growing up, or kind of thought were on a higher stage than you are, but you're just at the same place that they are. So that's pretty cool.
Who are some softball players that you implement in your game after?
I mean, for me, the past couple years, my big mentor has been Jen Salling, one of my teammates, first baseman. She just kind of really just took me under her wing, and has helped me along the way. I went down and trained with her for a good chunk of the off season, throughout COVID and that tough part. But yeah, I think it's important to have a mentor and someone to look up to. And she's been that for me. She's the best teammate. She wants everything, wants the best for me as a softball player, but as a person, and our relationship's grown along the way. She was the one who was at third base in 2018 when I kind of was the, just maybe that extra player, wasn't starting, and I was just more of a fill-in or an extra infielder. And so I kind of earned that spot at third, and that took her away from it and put her into a different role. But she was my biggest supporter throughout that. She pushed me, motivated me, and just, I can't thank her enough or, appreciate enough just everything she's done for me, and just who I am as an athlete and who she is as a person, is pretty special. And I feel like our bond is really special, and someone that has done a lot for me and getting me where I am today. And I think it's important to have people like that. And she's probably my big person. It's my teammate, but she's made a big impact in who I am as a person and a softball player.
What advice would you give college softball players looking to make it into playing college softball and then going on to professionally?
Number one, enjoy the journey. I think that's super important. It has to be fun. You have to enjoy it. Like, it's going to be challenging and it's going to be hard, but it will also be fun. But you have to enjoy that journey, because I mean, that's everything. I feel like the Olympics, yes, were a week, but it took 4 years to get there. And if you're not enjoying the journey, then when you get to kind of the top in that event, it really doesn't mean much. So every day matters, and enjoy that moment, enjoy those little things, because all of a sudden Olympics are over and you're done and it's gone. And you wish you could have it back. Same like college, those 4 years go by really quickly. And probably just get outside of your comfort zone. I think that's something I've learned just growing up and getting to the higher level. Challenging yourself, getting uncomfortable. That's when you're learning and growing. And, being vulnerable, having those tough conversations, just opening yourself up and just like, how can I be better, is probably something that's really helped me moving forward and just getting to the next level.
What advice would you give those people looking to go into the Olympics for the first time or go back to the Olympics?
That was kind of, well, for us, most of us on the team, it was our first Olympics, and we kind of just had a lot of conversations with the vets on our team that played in 2008. And that was kind of for us like, hey, what kind of advice do you have for us? I think for some that are fortunate enough to be able to go to Olympics for 4 cycles, a lot of them is like the first one, it's just like a test run. It's just see how it goes. Like, it's my first experience, kind of soak everything up. But for us, we don't have the privilege of doing that. Unfortunately, it's not in 2024, and that sucks. 2028 is the next one. But I think, yeah, you just do everything you can to be prepared for those moments. And I think that's what we did such a good job of. You don't know what it's going to be like till you're there. And for everybody, the experience is different. my view on things could be completely different than what my teammates' view on things is. But we did everything we could to be prepared for that moment that we were trying to get to. We were trying to get to that gold medal final, and we put ourselves in every possible situation to be ready for that. And I think that just comes with training and preparation. When I go out and play the game, I want to know I've done everything I can to be ready for that moment so I can just go out and play. I don't have to think about all the different things that I need to do. I just know that I've done what I need to do in practice to just be able to go out and perform. So that's really probably my big thing. But like I said, you can't really base it. You can't base what your experience is going to be on based on others, just because it's really just all about perspective. But yeah, soak up every moment of it, because eventually it's going to be gone, and that sucks, but that's just a part of it, and it still will be a part of you moving forward in whatever you do next in life.
What are some of your future plans in your professional softball career?
Well, I'd like to continue to play with the national team. That's kind of the next part. We don't know exactly what that looks like. We have the World Games this summer in Alabama, and that's also then moving forward. We also have just kind of into the next fall is a Pan Am qualifier, which is also for the Pan Am Games in 2024. So yeah, representing Canada. I've always represented Canada because I love to, and because I'm so passionate about the sport and growing the game. Now that it's not in 2024 Olympics, that sucks, because we've got a taste of the highest level, and now having to kind of step back from that is weird. But I played before when it was just World Championships or Pan American Games. So yeah, I'm looking forward to continue to play. I'm only 25, so hopefully I still got more in me to play for the next while. I think a good chunk of our team's retiring and moving on from the sport, and they've kind of are going out on their own. And I think I still have more in me. I'm just starting to kind of get a taste of being a starter and being at the high level. So I definitely have more in me, and I'm more that I want to give and just help this program grow and continue to, hopefully I can play in the 2028 games in LA. That would be ideal, be about 32, but I think I can do it. So that's kind of the next plans for softball and what that looks like, and whatever opportunities come my way as we go.
That's wonderful. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Instagram and Twitter at Emma Entz is my handle. So yeah.
Thank you again, Emma Entz, for your interview, and best of luck in your future in your professional softball career with Team Canada.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Emma, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.